Hello, ladies, and welcome to Her Business Coffee Talk. If you're ready to scale your business globally, but your English might be holding you back, you're in the right place. My name is Nina, and I will be your host today, and I'm so excited to introduce my guest, Sanja Đurđulov. Sanja, welcome to Coffee Talk.
Thank you, and thank you, Nina, for inviting me here. It's a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine, and just to say that last time we had some kind of technical issues, and we hope that our second chance is gonna be luck.
Me too. Higher force.
Yeah. Sanja, tell us a little bit about you, about your business, and what you are currently doing.
Well, I'm living in Novi Sad. I worked in Belgrade for 3 years. That passed 2 years ago. Currently, I'm working at the insurance company based here in Novi Sad, but that is international insurance house. And so far, I had experiences with administration, purchasing, business development roles, international mediations, and secretary jobs.
Okay, a lot of experience and I guess a lot of value for our listeners.
Well, I am on the working market for 15 years officially.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 40 soon. So when I started, I was 25. And of course, I worked parallelly with my college, my faculty role, and my high school role since I was 16.
Tell me, you mentioned that you had your own business.
Yes, that is correct.
Can you tell us more about that? What happened?
Of course. 8 years ago, I didn't have a job at that moment, but actually I woke up one morning and the idea just came up to my head because I specialized after basic studies. I specialized HR and management for companies, company management. And due to that combination, I actually came up with the idea that is actually meant for Balkan, exclusively Balkan people and Balkan market roles. And because that agency is actually concentrated on people who are searching for their own careers and career paths. So you must start quite early because what you do with your kid until he's 7, that's it. So you must actually concentrate him on his own path by observing him. What are their advantages? So my agency is based on that idea because when you have a meaningful job position and career, I think that gives a more light to your life and purpose. So that is the base of the idea. And the rest of it is just a procedure. And I was alone in that idea for 2 years. But in the next year, I found my collaborators. It was a psychological company, a small company, because of course I'm not a certified psychologist. I was only in that HR role. And specialization gave me that moment that I can be in front of that to have a base.
If I understand well, your idea is to like some kind of educational system change, but doing it in your own private way.
Correct, because it is actually concentrated on people themselves and the parents, of course. And that is meant for people from 7 to 77, because everyone who wants career or work or find its own talents and purpose, that was in collaboration with, of course, Psychology House, because I do not expect from myself to do that part of the job. I can only coordinate and point out something during those sessions. So we organized some events, some education, some online meetings, and it took only for 1 year because currently I had to find another job, and it wasn't it was a backup option. But because I was alone in that idea, it wasn't working on long terms, but still I had my own site and my own profile on social medias. And that idea is still on my mind because I think that Balkan has a deep issue.
Couldn't agree more. I just have like a personal example. For example, if my mom didn't make me learn French when I was in high school, I wouldn't be here, you know?
Yes, correct.
But I was lucky enough that my mom was the one to recognize, because, I was good at math, I was good at physics, I was good at English, but she recognized that I'm all about languages, that I love talking to people. And I didn't want to do it at first, but she made me do it in a good way, and I'm so thankful. And I believe in your idea. And what I really like is that you didn't give up. You just gave yourself enough time to think about it, and you have another job, like
back
for
up
the.
myself. Yes, of course. Because that idea was actually when I talked about it with my current collaborators, they actually approved that idea as a meaningful idea and encouraged me not to give up, actually. Of course, the Balkan is very specific market. And people here are living from today till tomorrow. And I certainly understand those moments. But when people are more conscious, they will find me themselves.
Yes, it's a tough job to educate the market first. Like, I believe this is something what you need to do when your idea is a bit older than the market itself. I think this is a good reminder for everybody who started something and don't know what to do and how to move on. Like, it's okay to take a break and see when the time will be right for this idea.
Of course, because every idea is born for a reason, but it's not always the time for that idea. That is the moment you need to recognize and admit to yourself, okay, I tried, but this is not the moment. And I saw how not to do. And
And next
then
time
when
you
you
can
get
do.
older, more wiser, and with more contacts, then you can realize that moment and, of course, go through with that idea if you still believe in it.
And tell me, you have worked across different markets. So, what have you learned about these experiences?
For example, differences between cultures. Of course, I was aware of it, but this was on site. So, because I worked in African Business Chamber in Belgrade for 3 years, it was a startup chamber, mediation house, and it was the first African association here, actually. We need to join markets, actually, to work between markets, to compose everything, companies, chambers, traders for each of one of products, services that was required. And I only had one coworker, and she is from Africa, so that helped a lot. And she became a manager of the chamber. She was more experienced, and she continued with that work in Belgrade. I returned to Novi Sad, and she's doing it quite successfully. It took time, 5 years. I was present there for 3 for startup. And those moments of differences between markets and understanding of international communication, not just languages, but expressions, jokes even, or communication with administration or protocols. Each country was different. And it was only between Balkan and Africa. When we evolved, it was whole Europe included, part of Asia, Middle East, and Africa. So it was all about actually the culture, language, and we had to collaborate a lot and adjust to them in the beginning. But when we established everything, then we could post our conditions.
For example, I teach English. I have a platform for English conversation in English, and anybody from the world can join us. But still, I struggle with that, how to approach a different market. You have to think about their, as you said, not just language, but internal jokes, beliefs, their style of communication. And
Even
that's,
religion.
yeah. And what would be your advice on that? Like how to start that research and how to adapt like your core key message to another market.
First of all, observe, inform yourself socially. You need to back up yourself socially as a science, social science. You really need to learn about that market, those people and their mode de vivre as they live, how they think, how they act. Are they going to be offended? Are you going to be offended? Those are all the spots you can go off. Inform yourself in advance.
Yeah, definitely. The last part you mentioned, it's so important. I know when I lived in Vietnam, and some things that I considered weird for them, they were totally normal. And I tried to adapt as much as I could, but still people were shocked by some of my actions, you know. Uh-huh.
The best way to go through with those situations is actually to play neutral. Okay, interesting. That's it.
No comment.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for informing me. Interesting to see. For example, my culture offers that and that.
Yeah, that's good advice. Like, keep it cool.
Keep it neutral as more as possible and with smile.
Okay, great. And tell me about corporation, about like the differences. For example, when you were running your own business, I know what it means. Like you have to think about everything, like how to get funds, how to get clients, marketing, administration. At first, like you are one woman show, and in corporation, it's pretty different. So, what does it offer?
Support. It offers a lot of support, not only financial support, but educational support and program support. That was actually something that liberated me so I can focus on what matters. If I didn't have that part, it would be more stressful than it had to be. So I must thank each and every one of them for that part of support.
And how to succeed, like how to find your place and get some kind of promotion.
For example, first of all, of course, observing what is the atmosphere and how that association works. Who is important part? Do you have some collaborators outside who are decision makers? And you need to focus on people. What matters, who matters, and what is the goal of those people? Not to put yourself in front of that goal. And then you can work peacefully. And then there wouldn't be some sort of misunderstandings or confrontation of those goals. That is the first thing that is important to learn about corporations. Not to be invisible, but to be assertive, to observe, to talk less at first. And then when you analyze everything, then you can actually make some decisions or some propositions. Just wait for your moment.
So observing is the key in, let's say, everything.
Yes.
So far we talked about.
Yes, even my agency idea was the product of the observing.
Like to find what
I
problem.
even wasn't searching for anything. It just clicked after a lot of observing of a Balkan market and Balkan employment and education system. It was actually quite disappointing because we have a lot of talents and wonderful children and people here in Balkan. And it is quite a shame not to use that here. Who knows where would we be if we used all of those gifts? Because it is like a synergy. If you help the society, society will return back to you. And everything will spread and evolve.
When you think about your idea and like, let's get back to that moment 8 years ago, is there anything you would do differently that you can remember now?
Yes, price range. That would be it. I think it's an expensive idea.
So you believe that maybe your pricing was too high, like
Too low.
too low?
Because I load myself. Because it was startup. It was my own idea without backup. So I wanted to actually attract people with pricing range. And it wasn't about the price. It was just not being prepared, Balkan not being prepared for that kind of idea. Like we have a better things to do. But now, 8 years after, that's almost a decade, everything changed.
Yeah, and what you mentioned about pricing, this is what women often do in business. Like they put low prices for something that should cost much more, and it usually doesn't work well because you attract wrong clients and people don't
Appreciate
value.
your
Yeah.
work. Like, are you a charlatan? Why are you charging those kind of services for only 30 euros instead of 50 per seance or something, or advising or connecting someone? That is ridiculous. For startups, it's not. For startup idea and for a woman on the market here, because we can't kid ourselves. This is the man's world, but it is also a small world, and any idea can find its own place and has its own buyer. You just need to have a financial backup to wait for it.
Let's see, and let's see what will happen now, like in the next period. Maybe if you decide to do it again, I will be happy to support your idea.
Thanks. That means a lot.
Can't wait to hear that. I know how much support means, and I also started everything on my own. At first, I didn't have to invest a lot of money because I was one woman show, but it lasted only for a few months, and then I started hiring. My problem started when I invested in the platform because my investor pulled back, and then I was like alone with a lot of expenses and a lot of costs, and pregnant with the risky pregnancy. So sometimes we really need that financial backup, like to if we have those big projects on our mind.
Yes, those were huge ideas, both yours and mine. And we also need recommendations, especially here on Balkans, because our market works quite differently than, for example, American market or Scandinavian. We are three different worlds. So here, recommendation is everything, and marketing is everything. In marketing, you need finance besides the idea. And for backup and support, you need powerful contacts. That is just the way it is.
Yeah, contacts are something that is like a game changer. So guys, work on your network.
Correct, correct.
Sanja, let's talk just a little bit about languages. Your story about English, like how did you get fluent? Did you struggle with confidence when speaking?
Actually, no, because that is one of my advantages, languages. I actually work as a sponge when listening to languages. My mother actually finished University of Philosophy for English and French professor. So she infiltrated that talent and idea into my life. So I started with English when I was only 6 and just continued. But with French, I started in elementary school. Then, of course, it stopped when I finished elementary. I continued during faculty time. When I was engaged for African Business Chamber for mediation role, it was required to have upper level, that is B2, C1. So they financed that continuing.
Okay, yeah, that's a common thing nowadays that companies invest in employees and like
That is
everybody.
program backup.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah, when
have a
they
gym,
realize.
have, for example, language programs, education regarding your business travels. Those are all very important points in international companies, especially startups.
And tell me, you mentioned French, English, French, international market. Like, I would like everybody to know how precious is to know languages. So, what's your opinion? Where would you be without languages? Like, how did they help you get where you are today?
That moment actually pointed me out when applying. So that is why I recommend it. Firstly, of course, that is a part of my personality, and those are my advantages, talents. So I used those. Of course, I'm not for professor roles, but I wanted to engage that talent within business. So that was my decision, and I finished economy. But that opened a lot of doors because it's not a common to know French Portuguese, that is very specific. Even German is not a specific language, but French, Turkish, Arabic, Chinese, that is specific. Those languages are hard for us. So even Russian. So if you find someone with those abilities, that's your man.
Yeah, I used to study French, Spanish, and Latin. And I know that people were usually shocked when they heard me speaking in French, like fluent French. That's not so common. Of course, there are many, many people who speak French as a second language, but not that many as English. So now you reminded me I should get back to my French, definitely.
Yes, especially you can't hear French around here, so you must repeat it. Repeat it. It's hard language. It is language of studying and learning. You cannot actually combine something. Okay, so it makes sense. French doesn't make sense. You need to study it. Like when someone wakes you up in 3 p.m., 3 a.m., you need to know that, declinations and everything. It is a hard language. And that is why French people appreciate it when someone comes there and speaks their language, because they are very, very aware what you did. That's why they don't want to speak English. That is something like a filter to them for people.
I just want to say, I remember once I asked one French girl about le subjonctif.
Oh my God.
And
She couldn't explain it.
Yeah, she told me it's related to gender. And I said, no, this is about verbs. Gender is about nouns. Like it makes no sense. And she was like, je sais pas. So they
because
have no
they
idea.
don't know. They learned it as a kid, and kids apply languages differently, not by learning from books, but listening. That is a totally different kind of learning. They don't think about it, so there is no logic connecting in synapses. It's just applying. But when you sit and you study, that is analytical, and you need to study it and put in your mind on force.
That's another reminder that when we talk about English and learning all the rules, like so much better, it's okay to understand the rules. I'm that person. I love grammar. But if you don't like it, just listen and listen and listen. And once when you start repeating everything you heard, like it's going to be so much easier for you to start speaking the language.
Yes, especially if you imagine yourself in a movie role on that particular language. If you put yourself and your mind in that role and like live with it in the moment, you will release yourself and your tongue. So that is my advice for women and, of course, for men, to release themselves within role playing on the market, because that is familiar. If you saw that somewhere in the movie or TV show, okay, they pronounced it. That must be correct. I will do it and play my mimic with it. The rest is history.
Related to that, my final question for today, for the woman listening who understands English but freezes when she's about to speak, what would you like to tell her?
To imagine the most unique and simple word in that moment, and then take a pause and continue explaining it. Because with taking a pause, you can connect your thoughts and actually remember what you wanted to say first. And perhaps you can give that other person a moment to interact with you, so you don't need to explain anything.
Just a pause instead of panicking and starting to talk too much.
Yes, of course, because no one likes blabbing, especially in business.
Sanja, thank you so much for this business coffee talk.
You too, Nina.
Ladies, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Don't be shy. Come say hi on Instagram, Her Business Coffee Talk, and we can help you grow your business and boost your English speaking skills. Until the next episode, let's coffee talk.
Bye, ladies.